This is CBC Here and Now.
He doesn't have a known grave, so for me, maybe next year it'll be him who's repatriated.
The return of the unknown soldier starts at a ceremony tomorrow. We'll tell you about the personal connection.
We're going to continue to serve the people of this community. That's what Corey would want.
How the fire department in Come By Chance is dealing with the loss of one of its own.
A lot of emotions. People are tired.
And the company that found the wreckage of the Titan submersible speaks out. Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. We begin in Bowring Park in St. John's, where the Royal Newfoundland Regiment is inviting the public to take part in Memorial Day celebrations tomorrow. The regiment is getting set for the repatriation of Newfoundland's unknown soldier next July. Mark Quinn reports.
The Royal Newfoundland Regiment will be here at the Caribou Memorial. It will be here to mark the beginning of the year of the repatriation of Newfoundland's unknown soldier. Remains coming from France will be those of one of the Newfoundland soldiers named on this plaque.
It will be one of those names. We'll never know which name it is, but it's pretty poignant to know that this time next year, one of those brave young soldiers is actually coming back and will actually finally return home and represent that fallen generation.
Those remains will be placed in a tomb here at the War Memorial in downtown St. John's on July 1st, 2024. There is a tomb for Canada's unknown soldier in Ottawa. Next year's ceremony will recognize Newfoundland and Labrador's unique history. In the First and Second World War, Newfoundland was its own dominion. Just like Canada was its own dominion, we fought as Newfoundlanders. We fought as a part of the British Army, not as the Canadian Army. And that's why I believe Newfoundland has that distinct honor of being able to repatriate its unknown. For many people in this province, this is much more than symbolic. Lieutenant Colonel Lawrence Hatfield is among those who had a family member die in France during the First World War. His regimental number was 65, so he was in that first 500. He tragically died at Beaumont Hamel, and he doesn't have a known grave. So for me, maybe next year it'll be him who's repatriated. I think for every family that has that connection, they'll all think the same. The Royal Newfoundland Regiment will also visit this monument, the Fighting Newfoundlander statue. It represents the spirit of the regiment, and I also think it represents the spirit of really this community. The community, the province has really always rallied around its regiment and the men and women in uniform, and I think this statue really does represent that as well. The Memorial Day Parade in Bowring Park is scheduled to begin at 1:30 tomorrow afternoon. The regiment's other events will begin after the parade ends at 2:30. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
It's the type of call that every fire department fears most, an emergency involving one of their own. That was the case for volunteers with the brigade in Come By Chance this week, and it had a very sad ending. Here Now's Terry Roberts has that story.
Corey Smith was only 44, a 15-year relationship with Amanda Marshall, 3 young children, and for years a dedicated member of the Come By Chance Fire Department, helping protect this community of just over 200.
Simple honesty, sincerity. Corey just wanted to do the best job that he could.
On Wednesday evening, the department received an emergency call, but Smith never showed up to the department to collect his gear.
In a small community like this, we were pretty sure it was going to be someone that we knew. But what we didn't realize until we were into the call is that, it was one of our own firefighters.
Smith was deceased in his home. He died from what the chief called a medical emergency. The town has been jolted by the sudden death of one of its leading volunteers.
He's the type of guy that no matter what was on the go in the community, he wanted to be there to help. We've just lost a tremendous person, and it's having a very profound effect on all of us.
The chief says even as the brigade deals with the loss, they'll still be there for the town.
We're going to continue to serve the people of this community. That's what Corey would want. That's what our members are going to want to do. And that's probably the best way that we're going to be able to honor Corey.
Messages of condolence have been flooding into the town from emergency response organizations throughout North America. A date for Corey Smith's funeral hasn't been published. Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
The CEO of the company that found the wreckage of the Titan submersible spoke to the media earlier this afternoon. He described the emotion of the last 2 weeks and the challenge of the search.
Shortly after arriving on the seafloor, we discovered the debris of the Titan submersible. Of course, we continued to document the site, and by 12 o'clock, sadly, a rescue turned into a recovery. I have to apologize, we're still demobilizing. It's a lot of emotions. People are tired.
The ROV operated around the clock to recover the wreckage of the Titan, which has now been handed over to the U.S. Coast Guard. He said one of the other ships, Deep Energy, lost an ROV after it was pushed deeper than it could withstand while trying to reach the sub. A former judge from Labrador is the latest person from this province to be named to the Order of Canada. Jim Iglesias is currently a commissioner on the Innu inquiry into children in care. He's formerly a provincial court judge and served as a commissioner in the inquiry into search and rescue services. He was part of the negotiating team that reached a land claim for the Inuit in Labrador. He's originally from Hopedale. Well, the province is doubling 2 bursary programs meant to attract dentists to rural areas. Both programs will go from $25,000 to $50,000 per bursary. Students in accredited dental programs are eligible, with priority going to residents of Newfoundland and Labrador and those who are willing to practice in designated areas in need. The provincial government says the increase will ensure Newfoundland and Labrador's recruitment efforts remain competitive.
Well, we saw a bit of cloud cover today, even a few showers across parts of the Avalon. We do have a stationary front still in place, bringing some rain to a good chunk of southeastern portions of Labrador, as well as northern peninsula, and even a few rumbles of thunder earlier today. We're going to see a lot of that continue, but we still have plenty of heat and humidity out there across most of the island, except if you are in onshore flow yet again. It's going to feel essentially like Groundhog Day over the weekend for those of you along the south coast. 12, 13 degrees as your afternoon highs today. 29 in Badger. A little cooler than yesterday, but still quite warm. Up across Labrador, you're looking at your temperatures around 24 degrees in Lab City, and we still very much have those heat warnings in place. From Green Bay, White Bay, all the way through to Bonavista North, the warnings will end, or should end, over the next couple of hours. But as we head through the weekend, we're going to see that smoke return. Lots of smoke across a good chunk of the country, and we're going to see it return across Labrador, especially tomorrow and even into Sunday. We'll talk about it when I come back.
Well, tomorrow, July 1st, is a holiday of mixed emotions. We honor the soldiers who lost their lives at Beaumont Hamel for Memorial Day, and then we celebrate the nation for Canada Day. But there's another event happening tomorrow that's inviting people to also contemplate how Canada came to be in the first place. Joining me now are the organizers of the Land Back Festival happening here at Bannerman Park tomorrow, Robert Lehman and Jude Benoit. So first of all, can you tell us what the Land Back Festival is?
Absolutely. Land Back Fest is a community festival. It's grassroots that comes out of the history of Cancel Canada Day in 2021. Idle No More and many community organizations around the country took action to really have people reflect on why do we continue to celebrate Canada after all of the known history and damage that it's done to Indigenous peoples and continues to do. So on July 1st, instead of celebrating Canada, we've taken it upon ourselves to organize Land Back Fest, which is a community healing space and a grassroots community music type festival, which is intentionally not about Canada on a day that we're otherwise forced to be inundated with red and white flags.
Tell us a bit more about what the message is you want to get across tomorrow.
Personally, I have many messages, as I am anti-military, anti-cop, anti-Canada. As an Indigenous person, I find it extremely important to focus on, why would we celebrate Canada at this time? And have some thoughts to survivors of residential schools, or for Omar, a refugee man who was just murdered by police. And all of those things to me doesn't really put me in a festive mood. However, I do acknowledge that Land Back Fest is more than just protest. It is about us building strength and resilience together, and about us celebrating having a little bit of joy.
Tell us what you expect the mood will be like. Like, what kind of tone are you hoping to set at this event tomorrow?
Yeah, I think that that's been one of the struggles and themes of Land Back Fest, is this conflictingness, and that's sort of the story of July 1st, as you were saying, that there's many conflicting feelings. And when we did Cancel Canada Day in 2021, there was a lot of anger and sadness, rightfully so, that people were expressing and are continuing to express. But we also have so much more that we want to say and can do. And really it's about the idea that about celebrating Indigenous resistance and resilience, and any of the people who are living here in a good way, in a non-colonial, anti-colonial way, and creating space to celebrate that.
Who are you hoping will turn out tomorrow?
I'm hoping for a mixed group of people, honestly. I'm hoping for Indigenous families that just want to have a space to celebrate themselves without having to feel like they need to celebrate Canada. I would like people who want a space to gather and heal, to show up and receive medicines or drum or practice in a traditional way. I would like allies to show up and maybe have some talks about building movements around where to go next.
And tell us the details again, when, where, and all of that.
So that'll be in Bannerman Park at 2 o'clock, running until about 4:30. And we're gonna have some music, we're gonna have some food. It's pretty open, so feel free to drop by anytime throughout that. And we've got a Land Back playlist that we're sharing online and around, so feel free to take a listen. And even if you can't make it out to the park, you can still have your own mini Land Back Fest. It's just about breaking out of that discomfort zone of the Canada Day barbecue that so many of us are used to, and instead saying, well, maybe instead of wearing red, I'll wear orange, or maybe I'll just do something that is, again, intentionally not about Canada on a day that we're made to celebrate when we might not feel like we should.
Okay, well, Robert Lehman, Jude Benoit, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
It may be the start of summer, but there's still plenty of hockey to talk about, especially if you're an Alex Newhook fan, or your NHL team is the Montreal Canadiens, which is the case for many in this province. Now, after 2 full seasons with the Colorado Avalanche, including a Stanley Cup last year, Newhook was traded on Tuesday to the Habs. So joining us now to talk about this trade is Stu Cowan. Now, he's been covering the Canadiens for many years. Thanks for joining us, Stu.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, I guess start by telling us how this happened. Why did the Canadiens want Alex Newhook?
Well, first of all, you're talking about hockey in Montreal. It's 12 months a year, 7 days a week. It's the topic of conversation here, and this is no different, especially with the draft just happening in Nashville. But why the Canadiens want Newhook? There's a connection there. Kent Hughes, the GM of the Canadiens, used to be his agent, so he knows him well as a player and as a person. And this rebuild that the Canadiens are going through, Hughes is trying to get a bunch of guys who are around 21, 22, 23 years old. And Newhook fits right in there. He's 22. He's the style of player the Canadiens like, a guy who's quick, a guy who's got offensive skills. And he's also got 2 full seasons of NHL experience, plus a Stanley Cup ring from Colorado.
Now, you've talked to Martin St. Louis here. You've also talked to Hughes this week. What are they saying about their new player?
Well, they both said, St. Louis said that he's going to get a better chair, is the way he put it, for Newhook in Montreal. He only had about 13. He was averaging 13 minutes of ice time a game in Colorado. He wasn't a top-line player there. But in Montreal, he'll probably be in the top 6. He'll probably be on the power play. He'll probably kill penalties. He's going to get lots of opportunities to show what he can do. He'll get a lot more opportunities than he did. Same way he wants to let his young players play free, be creative with the puck, be offensive, and he realizes they're going to make mistakes, and he calls them a learning tool. He wants them to learn from those mistakes.
The Canadiens gave up 2 draft picks. They gave up a defenseman, I think, who hasn't played a game in the NHL yet. Do you think it was worthwhile, or should the Canadiens have maybe more aggressively pursued someone like Pierre-Luc Dubois, who went to LA?
Well, Pierre-Luc Dubois, that was a huge price. It was 3 players who were playing in the NHL already, plus a prospect. And then they gave him that 8-year contract at $8.5 million. It was a big price. LA was willing to pay it. I don't think it would have been a smart move for the Canadiens at this point in their rebuild to give up that much. It would have been giving up 3 players who are already in the lineup, most likely, similar to what LA gave up. And then that contract also, which is obviously have a big hit on the salary cap. But, they gave up a 31st and 37th overall pick at the draft. They get Newhook. Those picks, you never know what you're going to get. You never know how long it'll be before they're developed well enough to play in the NHL. You don't know if they ever will play in the NHL. Whereas at Newhook, you've got a guy, as I mentioned earlier, he's already got 2 full seasons under his belt. He's got a Stanley Cup ring. He's got the experience of going through that playoff run with the Avalanche. So he's ready to come in and play right away. And he fits into that mold, as I was mentioning earlier, where Hughes wants to get a bunch of guys 21, 22, 23, have them sort of grow up together, be brothers on and off the ice. And the atmosphere in the Canadiens locker room last season, that's what it was. It was like a family atmosphere. It was like a bunch of brothers. They all get along really well. They enjoy each other's company on and off the ice. Big difference from when Shea Weber and Carey Price were there. They're 2 veterans who sort of dominated the locker room. Nick Suzuki's the captain. He's more of a lead by example type of guy. He's also only 23. So I think Newhook will fit in really well in the locker room. And Kent Hughes mentioned that after the trade. He says he knows Newhook well from having been his agent, and he knows he will fit in well into that locker room. So that's another part, another thought process that went into that trade.
Wow, Suzuki, Caulfield, Newhook. I'm sure a lot of Montreal fans in this province will really want to see a trio like that together. Thank you very much for joining us, Stu Cowan.
My pleasure.
Kitty Village will be one of many very busy harbors this coming weekend as the food fishery gets underway. Coming up, we're going to talk safety with the Life Saving Society.
Speaking of the food fishery, the forecast actually looks pretty decent. Warm temperatures continue. We may see a few showers out there over the next couple of days, but I'll get into the forecast when I come back.
All right, the long weekend is here. Lots of people going to be heading out to enjoy Canada Day tomorrow. And the weather's looking pretty good for most places, right?
It doesn't look bad. I mean, it's going to be unsettled. Probably the most unsettled of days that we've had over the last couple of, through the last week, really. Okay. But still lots of heat out there. Let's take a look at where we sat today. 25 degrees in St. John's now along the south coast of the island, including the Avalon. Because you're in onshore flow, temperatures are much cooler, so you're not thinking that it's summertime out there. But 13 degrees in Cape Race today, 29 in Badger, 28 in Twillingate, and then you head towards Labrador, and your temperatures are into the teens, just barely into the 20s for Cartwright today at 21 degrees. So still lots of heat out there, and also humidex values quite high. Current dew points 18 in St. John, 17 in Gander, and not a whole lot up across Labrador at the moment, but you're starting to get into some of it in Happy Valley Goose Bay, and 14 dew point is when things are comfortable, but on the way to getting sticky. Now, if you take a look at the current humidex values, it's feeling more like 27 in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Still feeling very much into the 30s though through Central, and even into the high 20s as you head towards the metro area. In St. John's 22 degrees, but feeling more like 28. So over the next couple of days, the forecast for the dew point is to come down a little bit in some areas, but right back up to starting to get uncomfortable up across parts of Labrador. 19 will be your dew point on Saturday for Happy Valley Goose Bay. Combine that with temperatures, it's going to feel much warmer than that. But as we head through Sunday, you're looking at that humidity sticking around. And then as we head into Monday and Tuesday, it really starts to return across the island as well, pretty much province-wide, even as we get into Tuesday. So that means that humidex values will likely be again into close to the 30s, definitely as you head into Wednesday. Look at that, 17, 18, 19 degrees for the dew point. Certainly going to feel uncomfortable. Right now, we've got a stationary front moving through that is sparking showers, even some thunderstorms to parts of the northern peninsula. Not showing up here, but there were some strikes. I know earlier today in St. Anthony, you reported a thunderstorm, but some areas even through Central, now offshore, but seeing some sparks of lightning. So that will generally continue as we head through the night tonight. We see some heavier showers, especially towards the northern peninsula, maybe even making it as far south as Corner Brook overnight tonight. Can't rule out the chance of a few rumbles of thunder. And then other than that, generally cloudy. Again, drizzle along the south coast, and even some showers possible for Happy Valley Goose Bay. So it's going to stay mild again tonight, except dropping to about 12 degrees in St. John's overnight, between 10 and 13 across Labrador. Now into tomorrow, expect the potential for some thunderstorms, especially in the morning and early afternoon, northern peninsula, west coast. And it's going to stay unsettled, generally cloudy across the board. Chance of a few showers certainly in place as well for the Avalon, pretty much all of eastern Newfoundland, and even the chance of some showers up across Labrador. But this is also when the smoke is going to return, so you'll see some hazy skies through the day if the clouds do clear. And as we head into the overnight, it's going to generally stay unsettled again, more chance of showers in the mix. Temperatures tomorrow will be into the 20s, humidex values, high 20s, cooler again along the coast as you head towards Central, 25, 26 degrees. Again, humidex values will likely be around the 30 mark. And then for the west coast, keeping that risk of thunderstorms in there, at least through the first half of the day, might linger into the afternoon, but certainly keep your eye to the sky if you are outside enjoying Canada Day tomorrow. And then for the northern peninsula, you're looking at temperatures well into the 20s again, especially for Mary's Harbour, 27 degrees. Cooler in onshore flow though, along the Strait. And the rest of Labrador, you're back up 27 degrees tomorrow in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Temperatures are going to stay mild through next week. I'll get into the details coming up.
Well, it's that time of year again. The food fishery opens this weekend, and that means lots of people are going to be heading out onto the water. Joining me now is Barry Fordham with the Life Saving Society. So safety is a big thing right now. What's your message for folks who are going to be heading out on the water?
Well, I guess most importantly, have your boat, the equipment, and yourself prepared by yourself, and your personal watercraft safety license, like your driver's license. Make sure that you have ample life jackets of appropriate fit and size for each person on board, and insist that they wear them. Make sure you have enough gas. Running out of gas is often the problem with breakdowns. We use the 3/3 rules: 1/3 for trip out, 1/3 for trip back, but 1/3 in reserve. Also, monitor the weather before you go, while you're out there. If there's any chance of any weather going on, come on in. If you go to an area you're not sure of, talk with locals. If you see locals not out fishing, then you got to figure something's up. So, and just be aware of your surroundings while you're out there. Be aware of navigational hazards, such as where we're to here in Portavada Village. We have that channel out there, and that gets quite stormy in places and on times with the bad weather, so you want to be careful of things like that as well.
Sometimes it's a really nice, hot, sunny day. People might like to enjoy a beverage and whatnot. What's your message about, drinking and boating?
Drinking and boating is the same as drinking and driving. All vehicles, such as boats, cars, trucks, ATVs, side-by-sides are the same thing. You do not drink and drive, and you can be held liable for that, and God forbid any kind of accident. So no drinking and driving while boating. Have it when your boat is tied up at the harbour, at the dockside. It's the time then to have a beverage.
And why is it so important to kind of keep your wits about you when you're out there?
Because boating now, you have to watch the waves, the wind, chance of capsizing, tipping over. Make sure that all your crew members are sitting down at all times, because it becomes even more dangerous if there's somebody standing up and a wave hits the side of the boat and that person goes over the side, which is again why it's so very, very important to wear your life jacket. A lot of people that have accidents don't wear the life jacket. Say, I don't have any intention to get wet. I'm not going to fall over. But studies have proven that if you fall over because of the boat tips over or the boat capsizes, you fall out, some kind of weather that influenced that. Studies have shown that if you don't have your life jacket on, your chance of retrieving that life jacket and successfully putting it on and everything else, your survival rate is quite diminished then for hypothermia.
And I guess you want to let people know if you're heading out on the water too, to make sure that someone knows you're gone.
Absolutely, it's hard to remember it all. You have a trip plan, let somebody know where you're going to return. If there's any change to that trip plan, let them know as well. And like I say, it can be enjoyed as a very enjoyable time out there, but it also can turn sour pretty quickly as well. So keep your wits about you, have a safe, successful season. Take your kids out and ensure that they're wearing their life jackets before they get on board the boat.
And that's a good note too, because sometimes people bring life jackets with them, but they don't actually wear them in the boat. But you really do need to make sure that you have it on the whole time.
Yes, according to the law, all that is required is that you have a life jacket for each person on board that's for appropriate fit and size. It would be great in the perfect world to see the Transport Canada to make a new law stating that you have to wear a life jacket at all times when you're out on a boat, and I guess that would come with different lengths of boats and that as well. The same thing as when you get aboard your car, you put your seatbelt on. When you get on your ATV, you put your helmet on.
And we're getting lots of tourists to the province, people who probably aren't very familiar with, what it's like to be out on the water, not, don't have a lot of experience, I guess, with boating. What's your message to those people?
Well, mostly, I guess, tourists would be going out on charter boats, so probably give the charter boat a call ahead of time and see what they would recommend for you to wear and have on with you.
Barry Fordham, thank you so much for this. Really appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity and getting this very important message out about the safety of all. Enjoy your summer and be safe and successful. Wear your life jacket, please.
Hear more from the head of the company that found the wreckage of the Titan submersible coming up. Well, just getting down to the Titanic 3,800 meters below the surface is a difficult task, but mounting a rescue operation at that depth would have been even more difficult. Today, the company that found the wreckage of the Titan submersible said they went down hoping to be able to recover the sub and the 5 people on board, and explained how they would have accomplished that if the sub hadn't imploded.
Of course, the scenario we wanted was Titan just lightly on the seafloor, the crew intact, the pressure vessel intact. That would have made the sub slightly negative or maybe slightly buoyant. What we did is we tied a lifting mechanism into the center core of the vehicle, which we could not detach. Right? The sub was not being tracked. They lost tracking and communication, which meant we didn't know where it was. And subsea navigation and knowing where you are is essential for safe operations. We were tracking our vehicle. So once the plan was to grab the Titan. And once grab the Titan with our manipulators, then we had her. Then it was going to be attaching beacons. We were carrying extra beacons, so if we lost her, other assets could track her. And then we were going to attach this heavy lift capability to the sub. At that point, we would begin recovery. So the additional planning included the other ROVs that were right with us. They were holding at 2,700 meters. The Horizon Arctic itself had another ROV. We were prepared, that vehicle was prepared to launch. We were prepared to launch that second vehicle to, once we came through 3,000 meters, then these other vehicles could join us. And they would also grab on. We didn't want to lose her.
Hi, I'm Adam Walsh, host and producer of This Signal for CBC Radio. We're in Ferryland. We did a whole show at the colony of Avalon. We talked about some history that's been unearthed, some of the most recent unearthing, and how folks are doing stuff here nowadays, and it's pretty neat. So check it out.
This space was done about 30 years ago, and it was constructed with all of the archaeological evidence in mind. A lot of the wooden table, the benches were actually done by the head archaeologist on site at the time, whose name is Jim Tuck, who's really the reason this place all exists. So it's really a representation of how far we've come. I am the executive director, so I am responsible for all of the staff that are here. I'm responsible for all of the positions that are here. We have a museum visitor center, so the visitor center leads into that museum where all of our best artifacts are kept. We have a conservation lab up on top of that. We have an active dig site where the archaeologists are on site 6 weeks out of the year. We have the 17th century kitchen that we're in right now, as well as a gift shop that funds all of these wonderful things going on. So it's a big role, but it's definitely rewarding in a lot of different ways.
Today I made some tortelletti pasta from scratch, and never made pasta in my life before until I worked here in the 17th century kitchen, and so it was fun. It actually turned out great. And so that it's tortelletti. It's stuffed with split green peas, caramelized onions, ricotta cheese, Parmesan cheese, a little bit of pepper and a little bit of cloves. Wrap it up, tie them up, and cook them in some beef broth. It's been rewarding, it's been challenging, it kept me motivated. I've been here for so long, I feel like I own the kitchen. It's my summer home, as I call it. And with a cook-off especially, I find it's great for myself because I am being challenged with the different recipes that we're cooking. And so that keeps me going and keeps me motivated. And being a part of this site, with you never know what the crew are going to find in the run of a day. Visitors come back and they're amazed about artifacts they saw, and it's great to show them then reproductions. So this is a more hands-on experience, and you're kind of immersed in the experience as well. So it's a little bit of everything.
Local concerts, a new album, and more. Find out what singer-songwriter Tim Baker has in store for this summer, coming up. Tim Baker has some big adventures on the horizon with a show tonight in Bonavista, another tomorrow in St. John's, a new album this fall, and an upcoming expedition where he'll be working with young people. The singer-songwriter was a guest earlier this week on CBC Radio's The Signal. Here's more of his conversation with host Adam Walsh.
Here's to the other side. Lifted high. We're out in Bonavista at the Garrick on Friday, and that's looking sunny. And I mean, what a beautiful place to be in the sun.
Have you performed there before in the Garrick?
Yeah, I've done the Garrick 2 or 3 times. I've done it solo. I've done it with the band. This I got all hands with me there. It's 7-piece actually. I've got the saxes out, and then the next day we're heading right back for George Street here in St. John's. Yeah.
And then you got some more gigs through the summer, and you're doing something else this sumper, right? Involving a boat.
I got lots of stuff on the go this summer. We got a few sort of weekend warrior, outings up in Ontario, and then I'm going up to the high north, right from Goose Bay all the way to the very tip of Labrador into the Torngatts, on this vessel with this. It's like an educational expedition. Incredible organization. I did it in 2016 with them. We went over to Greenland, and they're called Students on Ice. They're doing 3 different expeditions this summer, all in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Wow.
And it's basically, it's a bunch of students. The last one I went on, it was a much bigger boat, so I actually don't know how many students are on this one. I'd say 50 or something like that. High sort of functioning, like they all won kind of bursaries to be on this.
Okay, yeah.
And high school age, and it's myself and other educators. I'm there as a songwriting coach, and I'll be performing a little bit. And mostly I'll be walking around learning. Because there's the ship's full of Inuit elders, politicians, lots of scientists. It's very sort of climate-based, science-based, artists, journalists. It's a fascinating thing. All of these sort of quote-unquote experts. I would hesitate to throw my hat in that
You're an expert,
ring, but I'm an expert at writing my own songs.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. It's a pretty amazing system that they program they have put together there, I must say.
Yeah. I was going to be like, so why do you do this sort of thing? But everything you just said, I'm like, well, that sounds just absolutely
amazing. It's
amazing.
unbelievably inspiring. Yeah, it was pretty life-changing the first one I went on.
Do you get seasick?
I do get seasick. I do. Although last time, we went across the Davis Strait to Greenland, and I didn't get seasick at all.
That's pretty good.
But I do get seasick. Yes, it's very embarrassing for me to be a Newfoundlander and someone who gets seasick almost before everybody else. Yep.
Like when you're talking to young folks on this thing, talking about songwriting, what's that like? Because it's such a different setting to learn songwriting from you. So what's it like for you to kind of teach it and have young folks ask questions?
Well, I have to say it's amazing. I've done a few sort of seminars and things with kids of all ages, and I must say it's amazing how much young people know. Like, I guess you just grow up listening to music all the time, and people are naturally great songwriters. Like, it's really just a matter of sitting down and putting in the time and focusing and just letting your own creativity guide you, and letting your own sort of taste guide you in the editing process, and sort of being free enough to let yourself create without judging, and then being sort of judgy enough afterwards so that you can sort of refine everything so that it feels good to you. But there's there's an amazing amount of intuition involved. Like kids know what songs are supposed to sound like.
Yeah. Yeah.
They know when the chorus comes. They know when the bridge is supposed to come, and they know what kind of thoughts you put into lyrics. And so it's just sort of being a guide, keeping them going, helping them when they get stuck. And believing in it is the biggest thing, really. It's like songwriting, singing. I think a lot of art is just like a confidence. A lot of it is confidence. It's just like work and confidence.
Along with Canada Day celebrations this weekend, the country is also getting some new rules designed to fight climate change. Starting tomorrow, July 1st, new federal clean fuel regulations take effect. Now, the regulations require producers and importers of liquid fossil fuels like gasoline and diesel to gradually reduce the fuel's carbon intensity. The rules are based on a system for buying and selling carbon credits. Companies will have the freedom to choose how they go about reducing the carbon content of their fuels. The regulations are expected to raise the price of gasoline and diesel over the coming years. Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the Atlantic provinces are calling on Ottawa not to implement the new rules. Critics call it a second carbon tax and say it will hurt the economy. Well, it's Friday, so let's find out who's celebrating. Anniversary greetings going out to Lloyd and Annette Miller. They're celebrating 56 years together. Happy 56th anniversary also to Roland and Ellie Studley from Labrador City. Congratulations to Earl and Donna Noseworthy of Musgrave Harbour on their 62nd anniversary. Happy anniversary to Teresa and Basil Phillips of Cape St. George. They're celebrating 59 years of marriage. Happy 53rd anniversary to Cyril and Eva Langdon from Norris Arm. Wishing Calvin and Virginia Payne of St. John's a happy 63rd anniversary. Happy 59th anniversary to Elmo and Shirley Jenkins of Springdale. Happy anniversary to Alan and Sheila Thompson of Labrador City, who are marking 59 years of marriage. Happy 54th anniversary to Bill and Bernice Russell of Bay Roberts. Anniversary greetings going out to Raymond and Nita Layden. They've been married for 64 years. Best wishes to Mary and Alex Park of Cox's Cove on their 53rd anniversary. Happy 59th anniversary to Edmund and Shirley Kosh from Mount Pearl. Congratulations to Kevin and Blanche Keating. They're celebrating 50 years of marriage. Reggie and Margie Crew of Cape Broyle are also celebrating a golden anniversary. Congratulations to Clarence and Anne Malloy of Portugal Cove South. They've been married 53 years. Happy 50th anniversary to Rose and Darwin White of Conception Bay South. Congratulations to Gordon and Bessie Bartlett of Kippens, who are celebrating their 69th wedding anniversary. Happy 51st anniversary to Judy and Selby Rogers of Harbor Grace. Anniversary greetings going out to Tom and Marg Philpott from St. John's. They've been married 53 years. Happy 54th anniversary to Morley and Marie Inkpen of Buren. Wishing Norm and Doreen Smith of Kelligrews a happy 60th anniversary. Congratulations to Reverend Gerald and Ruth Benson, who are marking 60 years of marriage. Happy 60th anniversary also to Gerald and Cecilia Newman of Grand Falls, Windsor. Best wishes to Frank and Mita Brown. They're celebrating 59 years of marriage. Happy 54th anniversary to Chesley and Mary Barrett of St. John's. Wishing Dawn and Helen Heel a happy 50th anniversary. Happy 56th anniversary to Jack and Clara Joyce of Corner Brook. Happy 50th anniversary to Herb and Dorothy Andrews of Corner Brook, now living in Gambo. Happy anniversary to Basil and Audrey Butt of Mount Pearl. They're celebrating 55 years of marriage. Congratulations to Lloyd and Doris Jones. It's their 50th anniversary today. Happy 54th anniversary to George and Betty Badcock of Gambo. Happy 52nd anniversary to Bill and Gloria Brown of Summerford. Anniversary greetings going out to Gerald and Joyce Hannum of Lewisport, who are celebrating their 64th today. 50th anniversary greetings going out to Paul and Diane Butt from St. John's. Happy anniversary to Marie and Charlie White of Corner Brook. They've been married 72 years. Congratulations to Tony and Ursula Jesso on their 53rd wedding anniversary tomorrow. Happy 62nd anniversary to Earl and Donna Noseworthy of Musgrave Harbor. Now to some birthdays. Hazel Brenton from Happy Valley Goose Bay is celebrating her 97th birthday. Happy 91st birthday to Marguerite Jane Sutton of Stephenville. Birthday greetings going out to Audrey Hewlett of Springdale. She turns 90 on Sunday. Hope you have a wonderful day. Happy birthday to Rita Kelly, who is celebrating her 90th birthday today. She's from Sweet Bay and now lives in Rexton, New Brunswick. Happy 90th birthday to Ruby Bragg of Pilley's Island. Wishing Eileen Pike a happy 95th birthday. She's from Bay Roberts and now lives in Mount Pearl. Happy 94th birthday to Edward Meadis of St. John's. Mary O'Reilly of Gander is celebrating her 94th birthday. Happy 94th birthday also to Maud Starks of Mount Pearl, now living in Kelligrews. Happy 90th birthday tomorrow to Gordon Quinlan in Lewisport. Birthday wishes going out to Bridget Coffey. She's celebrating her 92nd birthday and ending on a big one here. A very happy 105th birthday today to Catherine Kitty Power. She's from Fortune Harbor but moved to St. John's as a child. She often says the secrets to long life are spending time with family, enjoying music, and going with the flow. Hope you and your family have a wonderful day celebrating. Another fine crowd. Congratulations once again. 105.
And great advice. I completely agree with that.
Go
Just
with the
go
flow.
with the flow.
Love it.
Less stress. Less stress.
Yes, and lots of people going with the flow this weekend. Long weekend, very exciting. So how is it looking? We talked about Saturday earlier, but how about Sunday and Monday?
Yeah, so Saturday's kind of the beginning of a pretty wet couple of days, unfortunately, as we head through Sunday and eventually into Monday. Let's just take a look at what's going to happen for your Saturday evening. So there's some showers for the northern peninsula, pretty much. We should see some clearing though, and along the south coast of the island, it's still going to stay unsettled. That is the story through Sunday as well. It's not going to be a washout by any means across the island, but there's still that chance of shower certainly in place. And then up across Labrador, in fact, you're looking at the risk of some thunderstorms in the mix through the day on Sunday. And generally, the chance of showers pretty much across the board. Now, temperature-wise, we should start to creep up again, especially towards coastal areas of Labrador, Cartwright, hovering around 26 degrees for Sunday. Again, very humid through the afternoon, between 20 and 24 for the rest of the Big Land. And then for parts of the Big Land, I should say, for the northern portion, though, you'll be hovering around 18 degrees. As far as the island is concerned, chance of showers, chance of a few peaks of sun in the mix as well. Temperatures will generally be into the 20s, except along the south coast again, where you will stay fairly chilly. Now, through the afternoon on Monday, more unsettled weather moves in. The better chance of showers, certainly for northern peninsula, west coast, and along the south coast. In fact, we're talking about periods of rain. And then for Labrador, most of you will be seeing those showers, except it should clear out in Lab West as we head into the afternoon. It may start a bit cloudy, but the clouds will clear. Temperatures 27, 28 degrees, humidex values likely into the 30s. But we are looking at some cooler temperatures along the strait, as it will be all weekend because you're an onshore flow. Northern peninsula, you'll hover around 20 degrees. So generally between 20 and 22 across the island, gray skies and periods of rain. Now along the south coast of the island, your temperatures will be into the teens. The long range forecast, eventually things are actually going to cool down as we get into Wednesday. Here's your forecast. So Monday, Tuesday will be showers. Same thing on Wednesday, actually periods of rain. Temperatures are starting to dip, so single digits for the overnight lows. That will be the story for St. John's and Eastern Newfoundland. And then for Central, you're looking at rain on Monday, Tuesday a few showers. Wednesday things will start to clear out. And you're looking at temperature around 24 degrees. And then for Western Newfoundland, through your Monday, you're looking at that shower activity, and then generally just cloudy for Tuesday and Wednesday with temperatures in the low to mid 20s. Now for Eastern Labrador, you are looking at a significant warm up. Like I said, 28, 29 for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then the chances of showers will return for Western Labrador as we get into Wednesday, and your high around 25 degrees. Now, this lovely shot was sent to us from Placentia. There's lupins. They are in full swing.
Oh my goodness.
It's lovely to see that. I love the lupins around. Yeah, Wendy shared this shot with us. And if you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, the best place would be to email them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Oh, I just love the lupins. Pink ones too.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us tonight. We'll be back here on Monday with a full hour show. Hope you have a wonderful long weekend. Enjoy Canada Day. And of course, there's the Memorial Day service happening tomorrow. So I hope everyone gets out and has a great weekend.
Good night.